So this is your cable alley, and we'll get to the racks for a moment. I mean, this is impressive. Like
Yeah.
this shows buy-in of the cables, which is not always super popular,
Yeah.
fashionable, whatever,
Yeah.
but because of how you use it. Tell us how you use this cable alley. What would each piece be used for, and what value does it have to the program?
Yeah. I mean, I think when we first did this and I posted on Instagram, I had so many coaches reach out saying, "Hey, why that many?"
Right, sure.
And
Yeah, you see this, you're like, "Wait, what?"
yeah, I mean, it seems like excessive overkill. But again, if we're looking at, okay, we're here at the rack, with rosters getting closer down to 105, 110, your training sessions are 30 to 36 guys per group. So we're probably at most utilizing 12 lifting stations, going ones, twos, threes at the rack. So we have 12 lat pull downs. We have 12 guys or 12 racks going. Hey, ones, as soon as you're done, you're going to come over here. And like I said, we're going to run a very structured, disciplined program inside this room. So you're going to come over here and we're going to do lat pull downs on the whistle to make sure we're having tempo integrity, rep integrity, getting all of our reps in. And to me, that just sets the standard for our team and the culture inside this room.
Yeah, and then you can have appropriate dosage, and is it
100%.
working or not, and then
Yes,
there's no variable or tolerance.
100%. So when you're sitting there saying, okay, hey, if we're doing a set of 12 with a 2-down pause, we can, hey, you need to go up, you need to go down next set based on obviously how each guy looks.
Right, but if you had less of them, you'd have guys in and out, the timing wouldn't be right, it'd be
100%.
really hard to coach it, really hard, like you said, rep, tempo integrity,
Yeah.
number integrity, you're kinda just
Yeah. I mean, if
juggling
we
it.
have 4 and there's 12 guys that finish, okay, well, you're coming over here. First 4 guys are going, next 4 guys are going, next 4 guys are going. Now all the twos are already piled up.
Yeah,
And instead of saying, hey, we're going to do 2 to 2.5 minutes between our main compound movement, it turns into 4 or 5. And now the training session becomes 90 minutes instead of 60 minutes for the same amount of work.
right, and guys get lost, they hide behind columns,
Oh, yeah. They're still 18 to 22-year-olds at the end of the day.
right.
It's for me, there's no gray area. It's black and white. You did or you did not, right? And if our job is to drive stimulus, get results, well, I'm going to make sure that we are getting that done.
Exactly. So you have your lat pulls, and then you do your low rows.
Yes.
Now, how often do you lat pull versus low row?
Uh, phew.
Is it 50-50? Is it,
Yeah,
I mean,
we
what do you
we
what do you
definitely use
prefer?
the cable columns more. Like for our
Okay.
skill guys, might not use the actual lat pull down low rows quite as much.
Okay.
They might be doing more chin up variations. Now
Well,
we'll still
flat
use
weight
them
relative body strength.
100%. So we might use more chin up variation with those guys, but in our C block, we're always doing some kind of cable work,
Okay.
whether it's mid row, low row, arm training. We're going to use some kind of variation over here just to build our posterior chain up.
Right.
So I would say for our skill guys, it's slightly more, but on our upper body days for our bigs, we're over here every single day, whether we're doing a low row, whether we're doing a pull down, underhand, overhand, neutral grip. So we're always going to change the stimulus, change the tempos, change the reps. But those big guys are over here
So the
twice
bigs
a
are
week.
going to be on that piece a lot more, but then
Yes,
kind of everybody in your C block is going to be just
100%.
eating up on these functional
100%. I mean,
problems.
we're going to work, volume, try to
Mhm.
blow them up. Again, try to get as much posterior shoulder
Sure.
back work as we can with these. And again, there's so many different variations. We can do a
Mhm.
single arm row, but you can go from a low, from a mid, from a high. We can change the variation in every single block and still utilize them.
Right. Now, are you using velocity intent at all on the functional columns, utilizing additional bands, or do you generally go with typical tempo on that?
So we might put bands on to create more tension at
Mhm.
the end range. But man, I'm a true Charles Poliquin guy to heart, man. Time under tension, we're going to
Attention,
tempo
sure.
everything, whether we're going to do a 2 pause, 2 controlled eccentric, whether we're going to do a 5-second lat pull down, ISO hold,
5x1.
100%.
Yeah.
We might sit there and say, hey, we're going to do our first rep as a 10-second ISO and lat pull down, and then we're going to do 6 reps with a 2-second pause. So a little bit ISO dynamic.
Sure.
And for me, I'm looking at more strength, not momentum inside the weight room. I tell our dudes all the time, we're going to get very specific on the football field, speed, power, rate of force development, get very specific to their position.
Mhm.
And we come in here, we're trying to get stronger,
Right.
bigger, leaner, build connective tissue, and how do we become as robust as possible?
Right. And a lot of your Olympic lifts are going to give you a rate of
For
force
sure.
development
For
anyway,
sure.
from
For sure.
more of a systemic
No
use.
doubt.
That's awesome. All right. So now we're talking about, so we have the the row here of your columns and lat pulls, and then we have a row of double-sided racks. How many do you have here? Is it
Yes, we have 10 full racks and we have 10
racks?
half racks on the backside.
So you have 20 workstations.
Yep.
And really, you could say, what, 30 if you were to use inside, outside, outside,
No
if
doubt.
you had to.
No doubt. No
So
doubt.
you could load a lot of athletes in here.
Yeah, and truthfully, it's most beneficial for camp because
Mm.
camp will always go offense, defense, all
Okay.
season. We're always 3 groups based on positions.
Okay.
We'll go bigs, O skill, D skill.
Sure.
So, the 20 racks don't necessarily come into play with off season, but when we're camp, you're driving, I guess it would be less this year, but you had 120 guys at camp last year, you got 60 guys. So if you go 3 guys per rack, you're right at 20. So it's very, very beneficial in those times. Where, hey, we got 45 minutes to get our stuff as we need to, and during that camp session, and we can be very efficient and get our work done in a timely manner with 60 guys in here.
Gotcha. So you're using obviously your bat wing pull-up bar. You're using your triphasics for light and jumps. I would say probably squats, front squats, and put into your Olympic sports or the Olympic lifts on the front.
Yes.
Or do you generally do most of your squats and benches inside the rack? Or
We
that
will
be more
always
front?
press inside the rack, but because the half rack side obviously doesn't have an inside, we'll squat, we'll front squat, we'll do any of our loaded jumps, whatever, a barbell split squat, we'll do that, all that stuff on the outside of both
Gotcha.
racks.
Okay. And then you have your landmines here. How often are you programming landmines in your?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of the single arm press variations. So that was something that we added. Racks were here, but we added that landmine for all of them. So, whether we're doing standing, single arm, split stance, half kneeling, to me, it's a really, really good exercise for shoulder health and single arm work.
So you're usually doing more pressing variations versus
100%.
single leg RDLs or twists or
100%. I mean, we'll work in twist, different rotational exercises, but the main thing we utilize it for is pressing.
Okay, why do you like the pressing as much with that? Is that because of the different planes of motion and stabilization?
100%. I think stabilization, that range of motion, that kind of movement pattern to me is very natural for the shoulder.
Sure.
And I think our guys, especially in season, as shoulders start to get beat up, feel a lot more comfortable in that plane and that movement than maybe necessarily a barbell or a
big barbells.
100%.
Sure.
You get really overextended. It's just a lot more comfortable position for our guys to get in.
Got it. So you have to have that variation to go up and down extensions for wherever the athlete is at the time.
No doubt.
And you got your bridges. You're using the cliffhanger bars up there. Now those are going to be able to adjust in 45-degree increments.
Yep.
Do you vary those at all?
100%.
Oh, you do?
100%. Those to me.
Width as well as hand?
Yes.
Place or hand?
We can go a little bit wider with our big guys. Obviously, it's a little bit wider shoulder width. Our skill guys, it'd be a little more narrow. And
Okay.
so for us, hey, skill guys, we're doing neutral grip chins. Well, on the bat wing, it's kind of the neutral grip on the bat wing is very, very wide.
Right.
Which, for our skill guys, we're going to be a little bit more narrow on that. So we'll come in here, hey, we'll have all of our dip belts preloaded for our B block.
Yep.
And, we're doing neutral grip chins right there on that.
Right. So you would kind of stand up on the DC block, go up there, boom, hit it.
100%.
And then because you have a double bridge as well as, you have variations, and you even have indexing chin bars on the inside of the rack.
Yep.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have chin variations.
We have
all over
chin
the map.
variations for days, and we'll manipulate all that. Underhand, overhand, neutral grip, just driving different stimulus. And, it's something that we are going to chin, especially for our skill guys, every single upper body day and some variation.
Right. And then if the bigs need to go right here, they're 12 feet away.
100%. Obviously you're bigger guys for how, especially we chin. I mean, we are very to a T, full range of motion. We are going to dead hang, let that scap go. And our shoulder is going to touch that handlebar. So, I'm not going to train a bad range of motion. So big guys that can't do that, we are going to load them on the lat pull down until we can get to that point.
Right. Exactly. And so you have your jammer arms. Well, it's something we even see here too, is your utility pads, these round pads. Now, how are you currently using those in your training now?
Yeah, I mean, for our lower body days, especially all the time. I mean, whether we're doing Copenhagen's, Russian leans, utilizing our power blocks to set up for dumbbell rear foot elevated. I ordered more roller pads off our initial order so we could get more. And hey, if we want to rear foot elevate on this side, we want a Copenhagen on the front side, we can use that in multiple exercises in the same day. So to me, those are awesome.
You kind of please set them up to cut down your managerial time during your lift.
To me, those are awesome. And for me and how we do things are a must have.
Gotcha. And you have your calf your calf stretcher, and we were talking about some myofascial release for the arch.
Yep.
You said some of the guys just kind of naturally use that between sets.
100%. You know, if we're doing a big speed day, high deceleration day, high plyometric day, okay, maybe that calf, that lower leg a little sore after you come in here, we're lifting. Maybe you hit your squat, you jog over, we're doing some kind of single leg variation, back extension. I get back over here during my rest, and then you kind of just find them naturally just getting that little calf stretch in during the rest.
Gotcha. Yeah, they'll find that spot. Jammer arms. How often are you using jammer arms, and for what?
So
jammer arm presses for the most part?
Yeah, so we actually just got these jammers right after spring break.
Okay.
So as soon as we got them, we used them. I use them all the time at JMU, different single arm variations, different, you know, snatch variations, split jerk variations. To me, all upper body power, rate of force development, how violent can we be? Not necessarily loading them with a ton of weight, but how fast, how snappy, how twitchy can we be in an overhead variation?
Right. And because of the rise over run, and after you hit 45 degrees, they actually get heavier and heavier. That allows you to have that compensatory acceleration going through it. You really try to get violent with it.
How these half racks are set up, we can hook red bands to the handles into these pegs right here, which gives us a ton of tension at the top to really, really work lockout, especially for our big guys, right? You get here, you're not, you know, you're pretty strong. As soon as we get all the way to extension and lockout, that's our weakest point. So we can train that lockout position with more tension on the end range of the band.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Platforms, obviously you're running, I love how the logos and everything turned out. So this is going to be all your Olympic lifts, your variations.
100%. You know, I wanted to make sure we showed our logo, showed our state. Very, very proud of it. Proud to be here. You know, and we wanted to go grayscale because, I mean, you know how things work when you're doing floor, you're doing racks. If the colors don't match perfect, you throw it off. And with red being a color that's got a million different reds, you know, we put a lot of time and effort into it. Hey, let's go grayscale and let's make sure the rack's popping out.
Smart. Yeah, because otherwise that's what people don't understand. Trying to match the rubber, the urethane, the powder coat is really, really tough.
Really tough. And if it's a little bit off, sometimes it can make it look really bad.
Yeah, and it's almost scientifically impossible because you're talking through 3 different mediums, 3 different scales of color. And it's kind of like the different languages don't always line up.
Yeah, and in the day, they're all not being made in the exact same facility.
Correct.
You know, floors here, the equipment's in-house down there at Sorinex, but maybe the bumpers are coming from your guys' company, but it's not in the same facility.
And it's a different medium, it's a different ink.
100%. So it becomes hairy. So as I wanted to try to make it as easy as possible on everybody of how do we still make it look really, really good? But not take away from the actual equipment. I want the eyes to be on the racks, on the platforms, and then you notice, oh wow, that floor looks really good.
Right. And the performance of everything becomes the grand standard, right?
Yeah.
So I think coaches need to think through, that's a really good lesson, is minimize the amount of variables that could go wrong in a room, because eventually you will run into a roadblock. But it's just life. And so control what you could control and then flex where you could flex.
No doubt. You know, and coming over to this area, we actually call this our Hoosier pit. The reason why, because we got Hoosiers down on the floor, big inlaid, and it's our dumbbell area. So we went all custom Dynamax balls, which I love, and they're all color coded. So you got black on black with the red IU at 12. You got black gray with the red IU at 16. And we went black with the white for the 20. So we tried to take every single little thing in, you know, consideration.
Super intentional.
Of how do we be very intentional in what we're doing. We want to customize as much as we can. And like I said, I want this logo that we're very proud of on this room as much as possible.
Right. And the ability, I love the color coding. You could tell across the room what that athlete's doing, and they could remember to, hey, I always grab the black one, whatever it may be. And then you have these Ivanko dumbbells that are just, they're tough as nails and first class and they're dialed. I know they've been here a while and but they'll be.
I mean, these were phenomenal dumbbells. So this was one of the things we did keep.
As you said,
you know, and we upgraded the dumbbell racks, which are awesome because they're very customizable, you know.
Right. The Iron Bear system.
The JMU, we went actually 3 tiers of dumbbells and med balls on top, but with how much room we have here and the dumbbells already being ordered, you know exactly what you have. It was, hey, let's go 2-tier and med balls on top.
The 3-tier works is better when you have to.
100%.
2 is a better scenario. Med balls are perfect for the 3rd tier.
Yep.
You could get high, you could get a little over your skis, but it works if you have to. But if you have the room to do this, you did it perfectly.
Yeah. So turned out really, really well for us.
Very cool. This is the first back attack I believe you've had in your programming.
Yes.
Um, give us what you think about your experience with it thus far. I know it's a little bit different than a lot of things out there. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of a learning curve.
Yep.
What are you guys finding on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great piece. You know, you are training that hip hinge pattern, and it's very, very close to what a barbell RDL is. You know, and to me, we want to get really, really strong in that position, that pattern. And again, if there's a guy that maybe had previous back issues or some kind of AC sprain, hand, I'm very, very big on, hey, I want our guys to be really, really strong in the hip hinge pattern.
Sure.
And if that we can't hold a dumbbell or hold a barbell, I don't want to neglect it for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. To me, that's going to make me concerned for increase in injury.
Right. Yeah. You
Performance.
have to be able to.
So
address
this
that.
was something for me that was a non-negotiable of, hey, we've got to get this in here so we can still train our guys in season, even if they have a little bit of an injury that's going to hold them back from maybe holding a barbell with 2 hands.
Right. Or even just a low back issue spinally because you don't
For
have
sure.
vertical load with this,
sure.
you have a tangential load.
100%.
And so just a little bit of a load parameter difference is what I've always found. As the volume increases with the barbell, I've tried to start taking off some of that with other hinge patterns,
100%.
barbell, just it's like it's keep a little healthier.
Yeah, you know, and to me, I just think that, you know, even it's okay, you have a guy that maybe has some kind of spine issue. You know, sometimes docs don't want you in that heavy loaded hip hinge pattern, but from a barbell pulling on you versus you being braced in this position keeps them in a safer load. And we've worked guys that we came here, you know, that had different back injuries, high school, college, transfers, whatever it may be, into loading them again through a hip hinge pattern, using this safely.
Right, right. And you get kind of a sneaky, I hate to say core, but
Oh, you
the
get brace.
torso
Oh,
gets
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
racing strength, a lot more than I ever realized.
This has become one of my favorite machines in this room.
Cool.
I mean, I'm utilizing it every single week, and
Glad it
and it's very easy to load. It's easy to adjust. It's just an awesome piece.
Well, I've noticed you guys have the 2 different variations. So
Yep.
by having this arm up in a little bit higher position, this arm lower, you're hitting 2 different ranges of motion where
100%.
the weight loads. And so
Yes.
I'm glad that you guys have experimented with that because you could have a heavy load here, a heavy load here, or kind of both,
Yeah.
depending on what the athlete needs.
Yeah. Again, with it being offset like that, it's a very smooth, you know, strength curve all the way through. You know, it's a very constant tension
Right.
where you don't get to a point and then momentum takes over and not strength.
Correct. Cool. I'm glad you're enjoying them. And I know you have your you have 2 chest supported rows.
Yeah.
So ISO rows. And so this is going to be more for return to play as well for you, or at least programmed in there pretty heavily, or is this
Not
that out of
necessarily.
cables?
Yeah, it's going to be mostly on the cables or dumbbells. You know, if we're going to do, you know, single arm row, dumbbell prone row, wide elbow row, whatever it may be, I feel like you can't be a strength coach and not having row inside your weight room. So that's a non-negotiable. But again, 100%, if we're, hey, you know, kid, us some kind of hand, some kind of shoulder, some kind of whatever, hey, you might be single arm dumbbell pressing while the guys are bench pressing. And then instead of coming over here and doing a seated, you know, neutral grip row with 2 hands, you can't. Hey, you're going to stay on that same whistle and you're going to be single arm.
Correct.
So, or we can offset the load. You know, hey, you got a little bit of an AC sprain. We can still load you.
Back it out a little.
Yeah, you know, hey, we're going to go 3 plates on this side. Maybe we go a plate and a 25 on this side. So we can still get our bilateral neutral grip row.
Right.
But we're offsetting the weight to get work some of that strength and range of motion back.
Gotcha. Have the handles that rotate, have they been beneficial? I was asking your guys before, what handles do they use the most, and which was kind of cool, but a lot of them had different preferences.
I like the neutral grip handle. I like the fat grip handle on top. Don't necessarily use the ball attachment one as much, but I definitely will alternate what attachment I use or what handle I use for my row variations.
Sure. The ball I found is pretty decent, obviously lighter weight. If you go elbows out, almost like a face pull row,
Like a wide angle
mid
row,
scap. Can't go too super heavy. I wouldn't say it's a big hypertrophy, but it's a little bit kind of ties everything together. Yeah, and we had to have an access point anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and put that on there for
No doubt.
variation.
No doubt.
All right, so we're talking about posterior chain. You have the collegiate GHD,
Yeah.
and how many of them? 12?
12.
12. So you're obviously bought into that.
Yeah.
What exercises are you running with your GHDs?
Yeah. So for us, I mean, this came out awesome. It fit perfectly inside of our columns. It looked really, really well. I love the contrast with the black and white IU logo on the red frame. And for me, obviously, different offsets of hip hinge patterns. So we're going to do reverse hypers, taking care of the low back and the spine. We're going to do glute hams. whether we're doing reps, whether we're doing isometrics, loading it with band tension or plate tension. For our skill guys, working different single leg, doing full glute ham raises. So there's so many different variations we can do to make sure that we are hammering the posterior chain. That's something that every program inside college football, right? But how do we find different variations to still drive that same stimulus, get the adaptation, but also keep it fresh for our student athletes to where, hey, we're not doing the same thing over and over and over.
Right, right. So when you see something like that, yes, it's called a glute ham, but there's 10 or 15 at least
100%.
variations.
100%.
When you're doing like more of a reverse hyper variation, are you loading it in some way or are you doing?
So you can, typically we use band tension. So we can hook red bands, black bands. If you're really, really strong, you can go purple right at the base, hook both feet in. I love your guys' reverse hyper.
Yep.
With the room we had.
Right.
Again, I'd rather have 12 than 8.
Right.
So for us, we can just be more efficient,
Volume
get our
is
work in
higher.
100%. It was more important for me to get enough to where, hey, we can run our room efficiently, whether it's in an A block, a B block, a C block, and have enough, then utilize the reverse hyper. And hey, now we got 10 guys in a group, there's 8 glute hams or 8 reverse hypers. Now we got to wait and it slows down the whole rotation.
Gotcha.